Hello, good evening, my dear YouTube viewers. Today also we will discuss about the caste system as a emergent concerns of caste system. The caste rigidity is observed at three levels. Some common factors are following: not to display the untouchability, example, common transport. So, if it is a common transport, we should not maintain the untouchability activity. Second, educational system. It is also ignoring the untouchability. Third, reservations at seats, jobs, political field is also minimizing the untouchability. Even NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, are also extending their services to minimize the social discrimination. Next, socio-cultural revolution is also observed in the society. Example, Sanskritization as well as desanskritization and westernization. What is Sanskritization? People wants to imitate the higher caste people who belongs to the lower caste. They want to imitate the higher caste methods or the rituals. So moving our mobility from lower caste to the higher caste by imitation of the rituals, we can call it them as Sanskritization. This phenomenon was observed by M.N. Srinivas in Karnataka in a Kurg village. The another one is sometimes the people are not permanently followed the as it stands in the higher caste people. Sometimes they do not want to continue to practice the higher caste rituals. They want to come back because of not interested, disinterested, inability and laziness. So the coming back from higher levels to lower levels, again coming back, the phenomenon will be called as desanskritization. Then switch over to the westernization. Many people, those who have more social exposure, wants to follow the western culture. That is maximum higher caste people. They were earlier people who were literates and they easily understand the other people, that is westerners thoughts and the feelings, so they can easily practice the western features. Next, John Mencher said in 1974 like this: caste system, it is not only for to strengthen their own people or group people, and also it will continue the economic exploitation of lower caste people for their own benefits. Next, they were not allowing any changes to mix with others. As a result, isolation caste is stabilized both culturally and economically. In this, what we observed is caste is as a endogamous system. It is well stabilized, not only stabilized and promoting their own people by following their features, and it is also continuing as a closed group. Next, later there is a tough time had been taken place between Brahmins and non-Brahmins in mid 19th century. It was started in Maharashtra. Later it is extended to Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. Particularly, they were observed at government-based university services. Mr. Byron, 1991, observed and he criticized about the Brahminical views. Brahmins' views are always universal laws, ritual or hierarchy, cross-cultural comparison among number of castes based on the Sanskrit idealized construct. So he is always against the Brahmins' rituals as well as their ideals that they practiced it. Mr. Ambedkar and Lohia, these two gentlemen wants to study the caste. Mr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the time period was 1891 to 1956. Okay, basically he was a leader at Dalit, that is Harijans. Later he became the leader for the nation. He wrote the democratic constitution. So our nation political ruling is democracy. That's why we used the democratic constitution. After cross-checking number of religions, Finally, he exercised or adopted the Buddhism. Ram Mohan Ram Manohar Lohia, his time capsule is 1910 to 1967. His socialistic ideology helped for minorities, that is, disadvantaged groups, and women. Both were Ambedkar and Lohia were understood the demerit points of caste system and finally launched the new political party with, which is an association of ST, women and minorities, which acts as a base for the constituency. Once again, we will recap the information. Emergent concern of the caste system. Why we will use the word emergency? We do not want to maintain the untouchability. We want to go for the touchability. For that, what are the occasions, situations or favor? Instead of untouchability, we are moving towards the touchability. That's why we used the word emergent concern of the caste system. The caste rigidity is observed at the three levels, but it was relaxed. Some common factors are allowing not to display the untouchability where it is common transport or the traveling. Second, educational system. In this, they were ignored the untouchability. Third, reservations at seats, jobs, political field is also minimizing the untouchability. Even NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, are also extended their services apart from their own to minimize the social discrimination. And another one, socio-cultural revolution had been taken place in the society. The name is Sanskritization and also followed the next time followed by the desanskritization and westernization. What is Sanskritization? Mobility from the lower caste to the higher caste. Why? Because lower caste people are always thinking they are at the lower grade because their rituals are bad, not useful for the society. Why the Brahmin caste is the higher order? Their rituals are good, hygiene wise and also academic wise or education wise. That's why it is better to follow the Brahmin rituals or methods. By that, the lower caste people will also treated as more or less same equivalent to cultural status, socio-cultural status. That's why mobility of lower caste people from low to high, the phenomenon will be called as Sanskritization. Why we used the Sanskritization word? Sanskrit is the highest order in the languages. So that's why they used the Sanskritization. It was mentioned by Mr. M.N. Srinivas, where he observed this Sanskritization in Karnataka, Coorg village. And then he was basically the cultural anthropologist. Sometimes the Sanskritized people are not continuously following the Sanskritized features or the rituals as it stand in the higher caste. After getting bored or disinterest, laziness, inability, again they are coming back to the lower caste rituals. That's why the phenomenon moving from upward to the downward, the phenomenon will be called as desanskritization. Then switch over to the westernization. Who will follow the westernization or the western rules or the features? Many people, those who have more social exposure, how? Through their education, wants to follow the one, not only follow, before the follow, they should have the understanding nature properly. By that they can easily take the decisions and follow the western culture. Example, maximum higher caste people like the Brahmins and Kshatriyas, they want to imitate, they want to follow the western features. Next, John Mitchell, 1974, he said, caste system, it is not only to strengthen their own group people and also it is useful the economic exploitation of lower caste people. If they will mix, who will do the labor work? That's why it is better to exploit in the economic order. Next, they were not allowing the changes to mix with others. Instead of that, what will happen? They want to maintain the isolation of caste is stabilized both culturally and economically. That indirectly says about closed caste system or endogamous system. It is not only live separate and also the closed and also the away from the main stream. By this, the system is stabilized, not only stabilized, and it is also continuing. First you learn the point. One is gathering of their own caste people, then form the unity, then maintain the unity, then keep up the unity, stabilize the unity, and continue the unity as it stands. So all these features one after another at various situations we will observe. That's why endogamous system, caste endogamous system cannot be disturbed, even though you can change the religion but not the caste system. Example, some Reddy or Kshatriya Brahmin community people wants to marry the other. So here it is, they can change the religion but not the caste. So later, example, Jagan Mohan Reddy's father, the Rajsekhar Reddy, they want to marry the only Reddy people who belongs to the Reddy community, even though they may change the religion, but the caste they do not want to allow to change their caste system. But Sharmila case is different. Later there is a tough time had been taken place between Brahmins and non-Brahmins in mid-19th century. It was started in Maharashtra and it is extended to Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Particularly this type of caste mobility or the caste criticism was found only at the government offices and universities and their positions. Mr. Barron, 1991, criticized about their Brahminical views and their laws, their ritual hierarchy, always compare with the other people. They are the low, we are the highest, and they will always say their idealized construct, which it was mentioned in the Sanskrit literature. Then Ambedkar period started. Ambedkar and another gentleman, Lohia, both wants to study the Indian social order in a critical way, in an analytical way. So, switch over to the Ambedkar. Baba Saheb Ambedkar lifespan is 1891 to 1956. Basically, he was a leader for Dalits only, that is Harijans. Later, because of his talent, he turned into the national leader. He wrote the constitution, and at that time what type of ruling we had? Democratic. That's why we used the word democratic constitution. After cross-checking number of religions, when he found the demerits in Hindu religion, he wants to shift it from Hindu religion to another religions. Finally, he found the Muslim religion is bad and Christian religion is bad. Finally, he chose and exercised and followed the Buddhism. Ram Manohar Lohia, there is another gentleman, 1910-1967. His socialistic views or ideologies helped for disadvantaged groups as well as that is the women group. Both Ambedkar and Lohia both were understood the demerit features of the caste system, and finally they launched the new political party which was associated with the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women and other minority groups, which acts as a base for the constituency. By this, today's lecture is completed. Next class, we will go for the depth of the information of Ambedkar's views about the caste system. This is Bindu taking leave from the YouTube platform. The gist of the information is how the untouchability phenomenon is moved, travelled or shifted to touchability at educational and the travelling point and also university positions, and also changes in the cultural system, Sanskritization, desanskritization and also westernization. And some professors were criticized them. Finally, two intelligent persons, they came out in order to understand the Indian caste system, and they had given their own views and they brought major changes. In the next class we will switch over. Those gentlemen are Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Lohia. Okay, good day and good night. If possible, do subscribe.